Is it really possible for a tiny tweak to your morning coffee routine to ignite your metabolism and put your body into full fat-burning mode for the rest of the day?
Check out the link in the video description now and transform your morning coffee into a metabolism-boosting super drink.
The future of new fossil fuel energy projects in the UK was under threat last night following a startling Supreme Court decision. Judges at the highest court in the land ruled in favour of anti-oil and gas campaigners who argued that a council's decision to approve drilling for oil in Surrey was unlawful. The decision triggered a furious backlash, with politicians branding it lunacy and warning that it would make the country more reliant on foreign energy. It also added to concerns that the court was trying to make itself a government. Net zero campaigners argued that Surrey County Council was wrong to give UK Oil Gas plc planning permission to build new wells at a site known as the Gatwick Gusher, close to the airport, in 2019. The judges sided, by a 3-2 majority, with the argument that, when granting the license, the council should have taken into account the pollution created by homes and businesses when oil from the site was eventually burned as fuel, such as by motorists. Why the dispute? In 2019, Surrey County Council granted oil companies planning permission to drill for wells at Horse Hill, near Gatwick Airport. But local campaigners challenged the decision in the Supreme Court. They accused the council of failing to take into account the full environmental impact of the wells. In a 3-2 verdict, the judges said the council should have taken into account emissions produced by users of the oil, for instance, when motorists burn the oil in the form of petrol or diesel. Why so long? Because the case has worked its way through every level of the British justice system. Extinction Rebellion activist Sarah Finch first applied for a judicial review of the council's decision 5 years ago. This was rejected by the High Court in 2020, then the Court of Appeal in 2021. The case was then taken to the Supreme Court. What now? Climate campaigners claim the ruling could mean other oil, gas, and coal projects in the UK will need to be reviewed and potentially challenged in the courts. Surrey County Council said planning permission for Horse Hill remains to be determined in due course. What's at risk? The two main projects are the Whitehaven coal mine in Cumbria, which will produce millions of tons of coal that could be used for steel production, and the Rosebank oil field off the Shetland coast. The decision stacks the odds against the project, and others like it, ever receiving the go-ahead. Extinction Rebellion activist Sarah Finch, who brought the first case in 2020 on behalf of the Wheeled Action Group, said she was absolutely over the moon, while Friends of the Earth called it a stunning victory. But energy companies said the decision could have profound implications for North Sea projects such as the Rosebank, Jackdaw and Cambo fields and mining schemes, such as the planned Whitehaven coal mine in Cumbria. The offshore fossil fuel industry in the UK adds £30 billion to the economy, brought in £9 billion in tax revenue between 2022 and 2023, and employs more than 220,000. Former Energy Secretary John Redwood said the UK was shooting itself in the foot. He added, "I didn't understand the judgment at all. Using energy produced in the UK will save CO2 compared to importing from across the world." Kwasi Kwarteng, a former business and energy secretary, said, "Killing off the North Sea makes no sense in terms of jobs or energy security. This is a bad move." The industry warned that if carbon emissions down the line must be taken into account, it could be difficult to justify setting up any new projects. It could pave the way for green campaigners to unleash a torrent of lawsuits, which could see companies having to set aside millions for potential legal challenges. The judgment also renewed concerns about the increasing role of the Supreme Court. In 2019, it ruled that Boris Johnson's suspension of Parliament was unlawful following a case brought by anti-Brexit campaigner Gina Miller. And last year it said the scheme to send asylum seekers to Rwanda was unlawful. Tory candidate and former Business and Energy Secretary Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg said, "This is patently ridiculous judgment and a further example of judicial overreach. The Supreme Court is trying to make itself a government. We should be governed by people who are democratically elected, and not by unelected judges." 2 wells already existed at the Surrey site, but UK Oil